Howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to already the last episode of this alternate campaign with Germany. Originally I was planning to let's say split this episode into two, because I was afraid of let's say facing the worst case scenario during the winter offensive, the Soviet winter offensive. But I had to change my mind because, well, apparently this turned out to be the best case blue I've ever played with Germany. So the crisis on the Eastern Front unfolded in January 1942, when the Red Army trapped the bulk of the Romanian army in the lower Dnieper River. And as one of you noticed in the previous episode, one of you asked me, did you save the Romanians? Well, I saved them. Luckily, I rushed down there 4 of Guderian's panzer divisions, and those panzer divisions not only relieved the Romanian army, which was trapped in the Dnieper basin, but also they, let's say, subsequently managed to trap more Soviet forces into southern Ukraine. To do this, I had to rush the entrance of the Crimea, because I knew, it's known already that the AI always uses the Crimea as a base through which to, let's say, to send in reinforcements and troops. And for the upcoming offensive, I also decided to employ in the Crimea Paul Hauser 6th SS Army, which basically consists of 2 motorized divisions and 10 Waffen-SS divisions. And the Hauser army was just being deployed in the Crimea, initially to guard the Kerch Strait. And while this success, let's say, unfolded in the south, in the north the big crisis occurred, because as a, let's say, a way to I mean, during the reorganization of the front lines, somehow the AI completely fucked up everything, as always. And the northern part of the front was just being, let's say, undefended. And the Red Army just managed to cross the Narva River and managed to march into Estonia. The fact that von Kleist's panzer divisions were there, I think that they really saved my bottom, because I would have not. I really didn't want to know what would have happened had the Red Army conducted a major breakthrough there. And here I began to learn during the, let's say, the winter offensive, how to manually handle a panzer offensive. As you may have seen there, what I did was to break through the enemy lines and then just leave one by one my panzer divisions to hold the line until the foot-based infantry arrived to relieve them. And this reminds me of my great experiences in Hearts of Iron 3, and shows that, you know, in Hearts of Iron 4, if you want to conduct a successful offensive, you need to micromanage your panzer forces, while I think it's enough to leave to the AI the management of the infantry. And the SS army successfully managed to cross the Kerch Strait, and then I was like, okay, maybe it's time to launch the offensive in the Caucasus, because with this huge bulge going eastward, starting from Rostov, this, let's say, set the basis for the next offensive. On April 20th, 1942, I launched Operation Case Blue, which, as you can see right now, instead of focusing against the oil fields of the Caucasus, it focused against Moscow. And again, here I would say it's let's say the second learning phase of my offensives. Instead of launching my panzers along a one single tile, let's say, offensive plan, I decided to split my armored spearhead into 2 columns. And as you can see, the idea of doing this was to have always at least 2 tiles through which the supplies could flow. And additionally, by enlarging the advanced lines, by splitting my divisions into 2 mobile columns, I ensured a better flow of supplies. And this is how, let's say, this was done to overcome the limitations of the in-game mechanics on how supplies work. And I don't know if you saw it, but this sudden offensive, I think that it took the AI completely by surprise, and I was really shocked to see that Moscow was practically undefended. And proudly, the troops of the 6th Panzer Division marched in the city, in a completely deserted and abandoned city. And as always, once you manage to close the outer ring, for the troops left inside there is nothing but capitulation. And this is basically what happened. And this, let's say, unexpected swift victory led me to reconsider the plans for 1942, because I was like, okay, then I think I could do some more offensives down there. And again, I decided to split my panzer groups into two. Von Kleist headed north, while Guderian headed south. And the goal was, with von Kleist, to link up with the Finns, with Guderian to just destroy the Red Army, which plunged into the enemy, into my lines like a large triangle. And this really reminded me of what really happened in the late summer, early autumn of 1941 during the fighting for the Kiev pocket. And this time again I did learn my lesson, always attacking on two columns, and this, I would say, really prevented again the Soviets from cutting off my spearheads and forcing me to panic while watching my troops advancing without being supplied. And yeah, at this point, to gain some more time, I even decided to manually control my infantry armies to progressively shrink the pockets full of enemy troops. And from time to time I was having a look at the casualties, and by mid-1942 I was really surprised to see that I had already inflicted something like 6 million of casualties to the Soviets for only barely 300,000 German soldiers who lost their lives for the fatherland. And interestingly, even the Romanians and Italians and Hungarian armies, they managed to gain some ground in the south. And at this point I decided then to use Hauser SS army to just keep advancing into the Caucasus. In the north, the fighting took longer than expected, but that was because of the terrain, of the marshy terrain, and marshy and swampy terrain, and because of the poor organization of my divisions. Nevertheless, the link up with the Finns was very successful. Leningrad was, held in Finnish hands, and with this, I would say that the Soviets were really close to the general capitulation. And to accelerate the capitulation of the surrender of the Soviet Union, I therefore decided to rush for the enemy victory points. So the city of Stalingrad for sure, as well as many other cities in the north that I realized that they do have quite an interesting amount of victory points, like Arkhangelsk and Vologda. As always, the offensive started with Guderian tanks just piercing through the enemy lines. Here I didn't use the two columns approach because the pocket that I wanted to make was relatively close. And here again you see I had a 5 seconds panicking attack when I saw that the two Soviet divisions pierced Guderian's defensive line, and they isolated its troops for a couple of days. But as always, a prompt intervention of the infantry armies saved the situation. The Battle of Stalingrad didn't last long because troops of the 21st and 22nd Panzer Divisions just took the city by brute force, and with this, the Soviet Union had enough and then just capitulated. It was fun. It ended much earlier than my expectations. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you all in the next episode.